the bridge beat the royal bridge.
To see a bridge, then raise you 3 bridges. Bridge! I win!
Hello and welcome to Triple Dummy episode 12. We've got a special live session with just me and Nick here.
We finally made it.
We're both here together. Elena's unfortunately away. She's up in Canberra playing in Youth Week, which will actually occupy most of what this podcast will be about. We're just going to run through a bit of different results, a bit of speculation about different things that we reckon might happen, and talk about stuff to come.
Yeah, that's right. And at the start of the year, really isn't much bridge to report on. So Canberra is the premier event that we're gearing up for. We're going to talk a little bit about the teams that we will be playing. There are a couple of really good teams from overseas this year, so it's going to be good. And we can, but to start with, we can delve into the youth, which holds a dear place in both our hearts.
So we're both unfortunately a little bit too old. I've been out for 2 years. This is your first year too old?
Yep.
Do you feel expired?
I mean, Canberra has always felt weird for me, right? Youth Week, as a Kiwi, is amazing because you get to hang out with all your friends and have a good time, but it's also torturous because, you guys got to play... Well, sorry, you guys get to, but not you. The Australian juniors get to play an event that is a little maligned, but I think it's actually amazing. You play with 10 pairs competing to get on the Australian team. At the end of however many days of qualifying it is, 3 pairs get in, and everyone pats themselves on the back and says, "All right, we made it. We got through a trial." That's what it should be about,
For those that don't know, so Youth Week for the Australian juniors, under 26, you can play it until you're under 30, so both me and Nick could go up there and have a game, but neither of us chose to because neither of us are eligible to actually make the team. But what it is there's a teams event, which is just like who's the best team. There's a little bit of qualifying. There's a pairs event, so who's the best at match point pairs. And then it goes on to what's called the butler, and that's the stage we're now into. And then after that, so the butler is like the real part of it. And that's when the top 3 Australian pairs qualify into the Australian team. Now, anyone under 30 can play in the first 2 events, the teams or the pairs. Also, you don't need to be Australian, so New Zealanders such as Nick can go in and play that. The one issue is that the butler, which has the top 10 Australian pairs trying to make the team, Kiwis can't play in that. So it's a bit of an issue. Like, you've gone and played it. What were your thoughts when you actually went and played?
I thought it was good. The first year, I've played it 2 years. The first year I played it with primarily with Glenn, my regular partner. We thought we'd do pretty well, honestly. It's a youth event that has a bunch of rising players, who don't have that much experience yet. It has the cream of the crop as well, usually. And we felt like, we should, we're an established partnership in the New Zealand youth, we should do okay. We actually didn't do very well at all. It was, the quality of competition was a lot better than I anticipated. So I went back there last year and ditched Glenn for his older brother. Unfortunately, we had another guy on the team who was too old, Paul Gosney. So we managed to have our team's title stripped from us rather forcibly, along with Liam Mill. So yeah, it's been a rough ride at Canberra for me. I can't say I've got the most amazing lasting memories, but
so Paul Gosney agreed to play the youth event and then realised he was too old, and then was like, should I tell people that I'm too old? But no one really cares, because this wasn't for the stuff that qualified for the team. It was only for like those preliminary events, which are really fun. People enjoy it and try and have just a good time. No one attaches themselves too much to it, but it's good experience and stuff. But Paul Gosney was like, okay, I agreed to play these preliminary events, but I am actually too old to play it. Because he'd just been playing it for like 15 years straight and didn't realise that it had actually gotten too old. So should he A, tell his teammates to go find someone else, or B, lie about his age? There was a third option, like, don't lie about his age, write the right age on the thing, because no one would have checked, really, because, like, it's a really low-grade thing, but, like, he went whatever, no one cares, I'll just say that I'm this old. But the issue was that he'd posted his 30th birthday on Facebook everywhere. And then people were like, how is he playing this event and stuff?
Yeah. It was slightly ill-advised, the approach that he took. Still feeling a bit bitter about that. At least we did get to play the Cliff Wake, however. The Cliff Wake is a very good feature of this, of Canberra Youth Week. You would have played it a bunch of times as well, I imagine.
Only a couple of times, but yeah.
Yeah.
So the Cliff Wake.
Yeah. The winner of the teams gets to play 4 boards of board match against a team of experts. 4 experts, usually not in established partnerships, but really good players. So this year the Cliff Wake team was comprised of Nia Griffiths and Andy Hung, who've both had lots of input in youth over the years and are both top quality Australian players. And at the other table was James Coots, New Zealand international, and Matt Brown, who's another New Zealand youth player. So it was very good. I think the Edgerton team, which won this match by 1 board. I think board match scoring, it's like
over 4 boards.
Over 4 boards. So you don't tally imps at all. You just tally, did you beat the other team on this board? So you could be in 3 clubs for just made for plus 110. Your teammates could be in 3 spades, 1 off, undoubled. Alright, sorry. 3 spades doubled, 1 off, but not vulnerable. That's more realistic for youth in board match scoring for minus 100. You would win the board because your 110 beats the minus 100 that your teammates brought back. So I think it all came down to the last board. Unfortunately, we didn't have the BBO coverage did not cover all the details from the other table. So something interesting must have happened because Edgerton went for 300 in a freely bid 4 spades, which got doubled. And I didn't think that was going to win the board, but it did. So board a match for you. That's good.
So anyone wanting a bit more details on board a match, it's basically match point scoring, but only 1 comparison. So all your boards are either 100% top or a complete 0 or flat. But the flats,
not so
but
easy to
it is a really lethal scoring method and really fun. If you ever get a chance to try it, give it a shot. It's really enjoyable.
It's starting to crop up a little bit more.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly in New Zealand we're trying out a bit, and in Australia I've seen a few border match events as well. It's so good. I mean, all we can say is we recommend that you play it. If the more people who play border match, the more publicity the format gets, the more likely these horrible Swiss pairs events are going to turn into either match point events or border match events, both of which are a welcome change in my book.
But some of my favourite scores come from border match. If in doubt, give it a shot. There is the best teams will usually win in border match, but you just get some hilarious scores, and if you understand the scoring and can appreciate it, it's just amazing, what you can actually get out of border match. It's playing in a world championship. I remember playing in 4 diamonds doubled, right? I over preempted my hand and my partner raised me for no apparent reason, so I'm in 4 diamonds doubled, and I'm just like, this is a clear bottom. Played the crap out of the hand and managed to get it back down to down 2, right? It was amazing that I got out for down 2. This was at a World Youth Championship, and my teammates, Elena and fellow podcast member, and Lauren, they doubled 2 diamonds. And yet we won this board because they beat 2 diamonds 3 tricks. So that was a clean top. And we're like, oh my god. It was just awesome. So
that is amazing.
Favourite hands always come from border match. Really give it a go.
Yeah.
But the Cliff Wake 4 boards border match, and this actually started. It was introduced by a guy called Griff Ware, convener of Youth Week, huge credit goes out to him. Did an amazing job. But this all started back when the youth teams, one of these preliminary events, doesn't really matter much, but came down in a tie. And like, how do we solve this tie? And it was a 4-board playoff. And all the youth players really loved this 4-board playoff. And it was just normal imps stuff. But like, we just loved the 4-board playoff so much that it just got introduced again and again. But this time it was just a mandatory. The winner gets to play off like 4 gun players, see who wins. And they're like, stuff this imp stuff. Let's make this board a match.
Yeah.
And the reason it's called Cliff Wake is because his name's Griff Ware, but people like journalists writing stuff about it got his name wrong, and instead of Griff Ware put in Cliff Wake. So the general motto of the story is everyone in the Cliff Wake gets their name completely screwed up. Yeah. So if you ever see results from the Cliff Wake, whoever you read did well in it is not who did well in it. You just have to work out who won the teams, who might have been playing, and sort of guess this stuff. Yeah. And it's just like a butchery of people's names.
Yeah, it is good. So congratulations to the Edgerton team this year for not only winning the teams but also taking out the Cliff Wake. It's a good effort. The teams was really a 2-horse race, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was we had the Edgerton team and the Cooper team, I believe, were the two that really put the pedal to the metal. Edgerton team, of course, being both Edgertons, Adam and Nabil, not playing with each other. Adam was playing with Max Henbest.
They've learned better.
They've learned much better.
It took them a while.
A lot of practice, how to not play with each other. And Nabil Edgerton playing with Daniel Braun, so that's a good effort for them. Didn't win a single. Sorry, would have won without losing a single.
Yeah, just 9 straight wins.
9 straight wins.
Wow, their smallest win was of 24 imps, so they absolutely smashed the field. This was a very solid effort.
Yeah, they did a fantastic job. The Cooper team was also very solid. They only lost the 1 match to the Edgerton team, and the rest of their match was pretty convincing.
2 close matches.
Yeah, and about 5 big wins, 3 close matches, and a big loss. So
yeah,
and that was Renee Cooper, Matt Smith, and their teammates were Jamie Thompson and Stevie Williams.
Yeah.
So all of those 4 pairs would be among the contenders for getting into the Australian youth team, I'd say.
Except for all 4 of them. I was thinking, got ahead of myself. Looked at the next team, which was included Matthew Brown, Matty B,
Andy Bowie, James Coots, all from Australian.
No, mainly Kiwi players. A couple of Australian players, but I was looking at it, I was like, unfortunately not eligible. But so the Cooper team did really well. They're all eligible. Really good chances of making the team.
Yeah.
Talking about making the team, so only 3 youth pairs will make the team. Who do you reckon will make it?
Oh, wow.
So let's see if we can draw up a list of...
okay,
we've got the list of the 10 players competing out, and there is Nabil Edgerton and Daniel Braun. That would be pretty good favourites.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, at least to make the team. Matthew Brown and
I think
that's the pairs.
That's the pairs. It's all right. We'll find the butler.
Yeah,
there we go. That's the butler. All right. So So what's the seeding? Let's have a look at the seeding order. So we got Nabil Edgerton, Daniel Braun, seeded first as a result of their. I believe this is all datum stuff.
I don't think this is actually seeded. This is just like them chucking it. So the pairs that are in there are Lakshmi and Rachel Rich. They're pretty new, so they are not favoured to make the team. But making the butler, pretty good effort. And they've been around for a year or two, but not much more. So pretty.
Both based in Sydney, I think.
I believe so. I'm not sure about Rachel, but Lakshmi definitely. But good experience for both of them.
Absolutely.
But they wouldn't. If they made the top 5, that would be pretty ecstatic.
Absolutely, with good reason.
Next is another probably favoured to make the team, but sort of touch and go. Jamie Thompson and Stephen Williams. What are your thoughts on them?
They've played the last 2 years on the Australian under-26 team, which is really important. I think it's, when you consistently qualify, it takes a bit of pressure off you. You've been there before. You know what it's like to compete under pressure. Of course, Jamie is one of these guys who's considered to have some of the most talent in youth bridge in Australia at the moment. Stevie's been playing amazingly as well. They're a partnership that knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I'd say that they're probably favoured to get in.
Yeah.
I reckon.
I'd back them a lot. So firstly, I reckon making the youth team experience matters a lot. You can make it as a new player, but it's really tough to beat the incumbents just because as a youth player, having experience is so invaluable. You would trade anything. All the people that have made the team all have serious talent and they've been there before. They know how to get through this grind. And Jamie and Stevie have made it a couple of times. They're not the pair that just shreds everyone and you're like, they're definitely going to make it. But they've just been so consistent that I reckon they're pretty solid.
Yeah.
Not that I knew Jamie as a solid player before this, but him and Stevie together have just been performing really well and consistent. So I reckon they're probably going to make it because for the last 2 years they've been outperforming what I expected of them and they just keep delivering results.
Yeah.
So I don't think they'll come first, but they might. But I reckon they're going to be consistent and probably make it in, probably second.
Yep. Cool. All right, second for Jamie and Stevie. Let's go on to the next pair, which is Jess Brake and Kirsty Fuller. So Jess and Kirsty are a new partnership.
Yep.
They've both played on the girls' team. They were on the girls' team in Turkey in 2014. Both wonderful temperaments in the game and away from the table as well. They're just, I'd imagine that they. I would be pretty surprised if they got in. I'd be super happy for them because they both bring the right attitude to the game. They keep putting a lot of. Well, I don't know Kirsty as well. She's been in the UK. And
she went over to the UK. So when she started out, she's based in WA. She was there for a while. When she started there, I thought she was a bit soft at the game, but she went away to the UK, and when she came back, she was a serious player and has improved a lot. I still wouldn't back them as a pair to make the team, but I would confidently back that they'll come 5th through 7th. So the top 10's pretty tough to make, but the top 5 is a really strong field.
Yeah.
And there's sort of 5 pairs that I really think that would make it, but if they crept into 5th, maybe 4th, I would not be surprised. But I doubt they can just peek out those top. I think there's enough oomph in those top players to just hold them out. But I reckon 5th through 7th is where they'll come. Wouldn't be surprised with a 4th finish.
That seems pretty fair, I think. The next pair is Crispy Rhodes and Nico Ranson. They're a couple of young guys from Sydney, and Nico might be from out of town, but anyway, they both study in Sydney. They've both played a couple of youth weeks. They've got a really great attitude. I think I know it feels like a cop out telling people that their highlight is great attitude or whatever, but seriously, as a young player, right? You come into this game and you kind of lauded's not the right word, but you're given a lot of freedom, a lot of scope, a lot of opportunity. People want you to succeed, and I know personally, and and we certainly know enough people who have, who haven't necessarily brought the right attitude. But Crispy and Nico are good. They play very solidly. They don't get upset at the table. They are quite green. I think. I think they've got a bit of a way to go. And for them, the most important thing is going to be keeping on track after you have a bad result, after once you start tiring and all that, to keep on putting it. And this is, I think this is one of the big things about 10 pairs in the Butler. You know, you might get to some of the last day, the last few rounds, and you have no hope of getting it.
Yeah.
But you still have to put everything in, right? You got people who are relying on you to compete with their competitors, and put up the same sort of fight that you put up, earlier.
Yeah.
So that's my assessment of Crispy and Nico, I guess.
Yeah, I haven't seen enough of them play. I think they're probably pretty green. They've only been around for about 2 years, so just after I finished, they sort of popped their heads up and started playing. But there's always young pairs that always surprise me, so I wouldn't want to rule them out, but I definitely think they're too green. For this year, I think that's very solid competition. So I reckon they'll be happy with sort of 5th to 7th finish. I reckon they'll probably finish around 7 is about my mark, is where I'd sort of pick them for. But there's always someone that sort of comes up and surprises me, and this would be the pair that, if I had to pick, I reckon they're my pair that might sort of do better than my expectations.
Okay.
I still don't think they're going to make the team. I don't rate their chances particularly highly for making the team, but I reckon they might sort of extend my expectation. They might pop into sort of 5th or 4th, and if I saw that, I'd be really impressed by that sort of result.
Absolutely. So next pair, Adam and Max. They've both been teammates of yours, sometimes partners.
Yeah.
Why don't you take it away?
Adam and Max. Alright, so if you ask people at the start of the event, these guys were probably the favourites of the event to make it. I am definitely backing them to make the team. I wouldn't be, the event's, there's so much tight competition, I wouldn't be surprised if they missed out. But they're my favourites to qualify. Definitely, I'd back them to come first. Although, that being said, the next pair after them, Nabil and Braun, have been playing really, really well. So, I'm open to sort of changing my opinion here. Yeah. But at the start of the event, I was thinking that Max and Adam were my... So, Max has been doing really, really well of recent. Adam Edgerton is been my teammate since I started. As experience goes, the two Edgerton brothers have the most experience. So, if experience is what you're going for, they have it. Yeah. They've been playing so much, and they're both really talented players. Max has been playing for ages as well, also has a lot of experience, and has been doing really well of late as well. Yeah. So, based on those two things, I reckon Adam and Max are my favourite to do well in this event. That being said, new partnership, lots of things can go wrong.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think, as you said, the way they're playing at the moment says it all, right? I mean, you can look at that. In youth, you do have to look at individual achievements, individual accomplishments, because you don't always get the same partnerships turning up. I mean, Adam, he's won a NOT with you. Yeah. Max, of course, won the Autumn Nationals last year. Yeah. Nabil's won plenty of things, more things than I can reel off.
So Nabil, Adam's brother, is the youngest person to ever to make the Open team, the Australian Open team.
Yeah, got a silver medal in the Open World Championships as well. The whatever it is, the event that I can't remember. I'm drawing a blank, but the team transnationals. Yeah, that's it. And Daniel Braun playing with Nabil got into the semi-finals of the Spring Nationals last year. So they're all doing really well. Form counts a lot. Yeah. It's very only people with a lot of experience. I'm not even youth players, I don't think, but people who've played for the country consistently can sometimes go away from the game for a while and come back, and that it's still there. But even then, sometimes it doesn't work. In youth, these guys have all got results recently. They're all playing really well. Lots of them, Adam and Max are both doing it professionally as well. The odds are stacked in their favour. So
are you picking Adam and Max to qualify first, or not?
Yep, I think Adam and Max will qualify first. And Nabil and
so just skip on to the next pair, which was Nabil and Braun. We've mentioned them. This is Nabil Edgerton, Adam's brother. Nabil was, as we mentioned, youngest ever person to qualify for the Australian Open team. But then he took a few years off. So he was doing exceptionally well, and then sort of got tired with the game, and then took a break for 2, maybe 3 years. Came back last year. He played with Daniel Braun. This is a schoolmate of his that he taught to play. Daniel's been playing for ages. It's not like it's just a new thing, but Daniel Braun started back in maybe 6 years ago or something.
He was playing the under-21s, wasn't he?
Yeah, so Daniel's had a lot of experience, but we're sort of a bit hit and miss it there. But Nabil's been brewing him up and getting him a lot better. But then Nabil came back and tried to play with Daniel. Last year they missed out. They came about 5th.
They were in the playoff for 3rd place. I think it was that 1st and 2nd automatically qualified, and then there was a playoff between 3rd, 4th, and 5th. I think.
Third, fourth. No, there would be a 4th person. 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th.
6th, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th.
And I think maybe 5th they finished.
Yeah, something like.
Well, I think they missed out by 2.
They didn't have to. Yeah, so they called off the last match because it was locked. Ella and Renee were locked to go through, so so there was no point playing the last match. But so that was very disappointing for them, you know. And I mean, people go on about the format, right? And yada yada yada. But if you've got that much quality in a partnership, you should. I don't care what format it is, right? You could be, you know, I don't know, like you could be playing BAM, you could be playing Swiss pairs or something. I don't know. Class always rules in these youth events, and I think that this time last year, Nabil was coming back after a bit of. I mean, he'd played
too long of a break.
Yeah,
he'd played a little bit.
He played in Turkey with Adam, but he didn't enjoy it really. I mean, he played in the border match afterwards, seemed to enjoy it a bit more. But Braun as well was coming back from quite a long break, so I think this year they've got much better chances.
Yeah, like I think Nabil, like he played a little bit, but it wasn't consistent bridge. He played like a bit here, a bit there, but not just consistently. I'm playing. And Braun was sort of doing similar things. He played a bit more than Nabil, but not much, and come back from less experience, so he needed more to sort of blood himself in.
Yeah.
But this year, Daniel Braun has been playing a lot. And Nabil has been playing consistently, like not super consistently, but he's been playing nationals, and I don't think that they're out of touch anymore. So, like, they went and won the teams, they went and won the pairs, they're in good form. So, I reckon that on the form they're actually in, they might beat Max and Adam, but looking at the first 2 results, they've lost 2 matches, so big call, but I reckon that if someone was going to knock Max and Adam off their perch, it would be them.
Yep, possibly. So let's get on to the next pair, the McMahon brothers, Charles and John. Do you know them?
No, a new pair. Always glad to hear about new people coming through.
Yeah, the first I heard of them was in the ANC in Fremantle last year.
Yeah,
where they performed exceptionally well from what I can tell, a relatively. I mean, not necessarily a new partnership, but just new players.
Yeah.
You know, going away to the Australian National Championships and performing well for your state is quite an accomplishment. So I think for these guys, since they're so new, it's all about the experience.
Yeah. So I know nothing of them, so I can't really judge, but my experience is the first time you play the butler, you come 10th.
Yeah.
If this is your first time playing it, it is a real, like, even for a youth event, first time in, you just come last. Unless you are extraordinarily talented or playing with someone else with a bit more experience. But 2 new people, they come last. If they come anything but last, I think that's a pretty awesome result.
Absolutely.
And shows good signs. But really, in youth fields, experience means so much.
Yeah.
Like, to some extent, experience means so much. If you have none, you're pretty stuck. So I'd be really happy to see if these guys manage to come
even 8th.
8th, 8th would be
fantastic.
a really happy. If I was them, I'd be really stoked with 8th.
Yep. Cool. Now the partnership we can enjoy talking about the most, with our third member of Triple Dummy and not here, powerless to counter any claims we make. Take it away, Pete.
Lauren Travis and Elena Moskovsky. Alright, so these guys are an interesting partnership. They have a lot of experience, and then they had a falling out, I would say, and stopped playing. Also, Elena moved to New Zealand, which was made it more awkward. But back in 2013 was basically the last time they really played, and they're on a team with me and a few other people, and we came second in the world, so they've definitely got skills to make it, and they've managed to do really well. The following year they did play the youth trials, but that was when their partnership was sort of falling apart, and they didn't quite make it. They had a year off in 2015, and now they're back. Elle and Lauren, definitely one of the top 5 picks to make the team.
Easily, yeah.
So if I had to run we haven't mentioned all the pairs, but the people that I would mention that would probably be contentious to make the team were Jamie and Stevie, Adam and Max, Nabil and Braun, Lauren and Elle, and Renee and Matt would be my top 5 picks to sort of be there or thereabouts. Now, I'm not sure if they're going to, those two are really hit and miss. They can definitely just, if they're on their A game, they play really, really well and just destroy everything. If they're in a bad zone, they don't play so well. So I reckon they're pretty hit and miss, but if they bring their A game, they can. Now, they didn't make the youth teams. I don't think they're on the strongest team, so I think that was okay. In the youth pairs, they won the qualifying, but then didn't perform in the final. So we've got sort of a mixed bag of results there. So I reckon it's tough to pick whether they're going to make, but I reckon they're solid picks for 3rd through 5th. Could easily come 1st or 2nd, no doubt about that. I am going to go out and say they're not going to make it.
Okay, all right. I'll introduce a bit of a counter. I'll say that they will make it.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, that's right. This is a great thing about being live. We can disagree to each other's face, and it's good. So the reasons why I think they're going to make it, that it seemed like both of them, but maybe Lauren a little more, were a bit over the youth competition. Not just youth competition, but bridge in general, I guess. They've played a lot. They went through phases of not just playing a lot together, but playing a lot in general. You look at Lauren, and she's got her mother, Barbara Travis. I think fair to say, one of the 2 or 3 best Australian women's players, and her stepfather, Howard Melbourne, another excellent player, and she plays a lot with them. She plays a lot, full stop. She plays a lot in South Australia, and I think she was maybe a bit burnt out this time last year, or the year before, this time in 2014. I think. Last year she didn't play much. She played some of the big nationals, but she wasn't, and she played a little bit at the club, but I don't think she was playing that much. She was having a bit of time off to sort out her life, and good on her. We've all had to make these decisions in the past. I know I have, I'm sure you have as well. So however, it is really tough coming back to a partnership that's been on hiatus. You effectively have to start from scratch. You can try and remember all your agreements, but in most long-term partnerships, you have 5 years of layers of agreements. You had something, you changed it, and then you come back after 2 years, you're like, all right, we're just playing 2 over 1. I can't remember what we were doing. So I actually think I think that simplicity may help them. May actually help them out a bit. I think that they will perform, but they really need to keep their eyes on the prize. That's they both very much dislike the format, as you will have heard from Elena's ranting at various times. They're both quite emotional, not not necessarily at the table, but away from the table, and if they can just focus on the fact that they just have to play solidly. They don't need to do amazing things. They especially not getting thrown off by people doing good things against them. You play against one of these less experienced pairs, and they bid some crazy game that makes them 3 finesses, and you lose 10 imps, and you can't get frustrated by that. You're going to get those imps back, and I think that all this talk about the format is overshadows this factor, right?
Yep.
If you've got class, you keep playing well, you play consistently, you should get through. I think they have, so it's sort of a reverse, right, comparing them to Nabil and Braun.
Yeah.
Normally Nabil and Braun come in and you're like, they've got no practice whatsoever, and they haven't been playing bridge much, and you're like, well, Nabil was one of the best players in Australia, period. Surely he can get it, right? But they didn't. And normally Lauren and Elena are the partnership with the partnership history, with the practice and all that. This time they don't have that. They don't have the practice, and I actually think it will be an advantage for them.
Yeah,
I reckon.
Lots of people do go through a little honeymoon period, like even reforming a partnership where they have like this spike in results where they do really well because they're actually not annoyed at each other anymore, and they've got all the benefits of the partnership having that little break.
Yeah.
That being said, I don't think either Elle or Lauren have been playing lots of bridge separately.
That's right.
So lots of those partnerships that do have that sort of spike in results, reforming their partnership, have played bridge with other people and are like, oh, why am I doing this? I should go back to this person and then do that. So I'm slightly worried that they might go through the phase that Nabil did, not to the same extent, but be a bit rusty and not be at their peak. So,
Alright, fair enough. We'll see how it pans out. Now, the next pair, Renee and Matt, was the fifth of the pairs that you mentioned, and being the 5 in contention. I actually before the results of these first few matches, I actually thought they would make it. I thought, I didn't think it was at all guaranteed. But none of this stuff is guaranteed. But Renee has just gone from strength to strength. I think seeing her play, she takes great lines. She takes her time. She's very considerate. She has all the right attributes to be a really top player. And Matt Smith, he's a bit younger, also Western Australian. He's of the Jono Newman mould, I guess. A guy who has recently come into the game, but just thrown everything into it. The guy is really smart. He's a chess player first of all. Well, until bridge. Now that's taken over now, but he absorbs it. He thrives off it. He takes everything that happens. Every little random squeeze or random position or anything, and he loves it.
Yeah.
So the one thing gets him is inexperience, I guess.
Yeah.
How would you rate them?
So Renee, I think, has just been playing sensational. She's just, I would back her to be, not now, but in the future, one of the top women's players in just a few years. 5 years' time, I would pick Renee to be possibly one of the top 5 women's players in Australia.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll take her long at all to get there. I think she's sensational. She tries really hard. She's really keen. Great attitude. All that sort of stuff. Matt Smith, bit raw, needs that experience. I think his textbook pretty good. So I've spoken with Matt Smith. Awesome guy, love him. But the way he's learnt is just reading books, non-stop reading books. Now, great way to learn things. But he fits into this description of this textbook player to me.
Yeah.
Now, there's lots of these people that can do awesome, great stuff, and all these fancy plays and things like this. And then I just sit down and I'm like, why didn't you just draw trumps and take a finesse? Right? Like, there are some they might do that in the end, but like it might take them like 10 minutes to take this line because they have to like run through their head all these different. Can I do this? Can I do that? Can I do? And I think textbook players look really good. Like you see all the stuff they do. You hear about these hands. And you're like, wow, this is really good.
Yeah.
But you miss all these sort of mundane hands where they might not apply enough pressure. They might not do enough of this and things like that. And I reckon that's where he's lacking because he doesn't have enough experience to do that stuff. He'll definitely get that. He's got the right attitude to the game. He's going to build that sort of stuff. He's asking the right questions, doing all that right stuff. At the moment, I would like they're a top 5 pair. I just don't think Matt's got quite enough experience to get them over the line. So we're looking at the first 2 results at the moment. They went -21. They lost to Jamie Thompson, Stephen Williams, one of the most consistent pairs we'd pick in the field. And then they played Adam and Max, who we rated as the favourite to make the team. So checking out their first 2 results, they could definitely bounce back from that. So I don't think that's a huge indicator of what's going to happen here. But I don't think they're going to make it. Like they could. They're definitely in the top 5 there. They've got the skills. They're going to get that. My issue is that I don't think Matt's had enough experience to get across the line.
Fair enough. I've got a lot of sympathy for Matt because it's the same way I learned, from the textbook. And it does mean you do ridiculous things, Like I remember hands where I'd play for a trump squeeze, and then the hand after I would duck with declare would play towards the ace queen jack or something and play to the queen, and I'd duck with the king, and then they'd claim, and I'd be like, oh, you didn't actually need that have a finesse or something, and like this sort of stuff, and you're like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, I actually don't know how to count tricks here. I don't know how to count the distribution. Like,
I've just seen this play. I know that this might work well and stuff.
Exactly.
And you sort of need to build experience in both areas. Like, I think reading books is the quickest way to get better, but I think you definitely need just to like blood yourself with like heaps and heaps and hands.
Talk a lot and just improve your process. Get those foundations right. And I think you'll get there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Might not get there this time. But I hope they put in a really good showing anyway. I mean, they're still my dark horses, I think.
Yeah. Alright, so who's your pick to make the... Oh, sorry, we've got one more pair?
Yep. Andrew Spooner and Zach Neulinger. Apologies if that's mispronounced, but I don't know Zach very well. I met him in Canberra. Both Zach and Andrew are very quiet, reserved, lovely guys. Awesome. Like, this is kind of... In the youth scene, you get used to very outward personalities, very extroverted, in-your-face personalities. Edgins, Howards, Travises, etc. Like, in your face. Andrew and Zach are of the lesser-known second variety. Quite introverted, quite, very easygoing, quite serious, and both really nice guys. Talking to them a bit about the game. Andrew sent through some stuff, emails and comments on BBO and stuff. He's really keen.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad to see them in the 10. It's gonna be hard though.
Yep. I've seen them both around. I haven't actually seen them play much, so I reckon it's hard to judge. But they have had a bit of experience compared to a couple of other people, but not much, and I haven't seen them shine yet. So
not yet, no.
I reckon they're probably... I don't think they're going to come last, but I reckon they would be in the bottom half of the field for sure.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I haven't seen them. I know them both, but I haven't seen them actually play, so won't be able to give a...
Yeah, that's right. I haven't seen much of them either. They don't... Well, they're sort of... Again, same with the two different youth groups. You get guys who play a lot of the nationals and guys who don't, I guess. Don't see them at many nationals. So hard to say. We don't know much.
Yeah.
What else is new?
Yeah. Well, we've got a guest. Hey, Ella.
Hello, Ella.
Hi, I have a Youth Week update if you want it.
Youth Week update.
Youth Week update.
See, we can bring you the news
Straight from the source of Ella.
latest.
Straight from Jamie.
Come on in here.
Oh, I'm coming on the screen.
All right, say hello to Ella Patterson.
Hello.
Nick's fiance.
Alright.
Also,
Say congratulations.
thank you very much.
Who's saying congratulations? I'm expected to hear something. So yeah, I've got the news straight from Jamie. They are a third of the way through their 9 matches, so they're playing 20 board rounds. I don't know how much you've filled these people in.
Yeah.
Just first two. Yeah.
Okay, so currently in the lead we've got Jamie and Stevie,
Yeah.
who are 9 also ahead of Adam and Max.
Yep.
Then we got Kirsty and Jess, who are in third.
It's good effort.
Couple, maybe 6 behind them, and then there's Elena and Lauren. Then there's the McMahons. There's,
Wow.
Fantastic.
yeah, who are just brand new to Youth Week, so that's pretty
Awesome.
impressive. Lakshmi and I think Rachel.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's very good.
Nico and Chris. Andrew Spooner and Zach Newlinger.
Yep.
And then Bill and Braun and Matt and Renee are bringing up the rear,
Wow.
which is a huge
Wow.
surprise. So yeah,
Oh
the
my goodness.
scores are here if you want to have a look.
Wow. Yeah. So we don't have them on the internet just yet.
Yeah.
We
We can't tell who's played who yet.
No.
Oh, we
let's have a
can,
look.
we can.
Oh, we can?
Well, I can tell. Well, sorry, you can look at. The
Oh
names.
wow! Okay, all right. So let's have a look. Jamie and Stevie have had 3 stonking wins. They beat Matt and Renee, and they
Crispy
beat
and Nico.
Crispy and Nico, and they beat Lakshmi and Rachel. So they've had a couple of easy draws.
Easiest shot, yep.
Yeah. So they've had a great start, but just
Yeah, can't fault them.
That's right. Adam and Max, I think, have done.
They've also 3.
They've done very well, actually. They've had a fantastic start. They're not in first, but they won
Hard
by
draw.
they won by 11 over Nabil and Braun. They won by 28 over Renee and Matt, and they won by 22 over Elena and Lauren.
Yeah, so
that's
that would be the toughest draw by
amazing.
now,
Yeah.
and they're in second. So
Fantastic.
That looks like
effort.
pretty
Yeah,
easy road
yeah.
home. And-
yeah, if they've knocked off those 3, I reckon they are
Yeah.
hot favourites to win.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And Jess Brake and Kirsty, they've had 3 wins, and they beat. Their toughest match was against Elena and Lauren. They won by 13, so
Great effort.
that's a really good start. They've done really well. Elena and Lauren they haven't had the best start, losing to Jake and Kirsty. Sorry,
Who?
I was thinking Jess Brake, and I just
Jake.
It came out Jake. All right, Jake and Cooler. So
So Jess breaking Kirsty Ford.
yes,
Jake in cooler.
Jake and Cooler. Yep.
Yeah.
And they also lost to Adam and Max, which is understandable. Tough draw there, but they had a big win over Nabil and Braun. So
No.
it's a slow start for them, I'd say, but
Yeah.
but decent. McMahons have had a loss to Crispy and Nico, a win over Lakshmi and Rachel, and a loss to Jess and Kirsty. So good.
So they're in 5th with 2 losses. So there's
2
been
draws, I think. 2 draws.
two draws
yeah.
and a small loss.
Yeah.
Got them into 5th. So
Yeah.
there's really big results to actually, like really swingy results to actually get them into
Absolutely.
5th.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're going to hold on there.
Yeah.
But
So anyway, we can look at our 2 backs. You know the pair that I.
so well, I was backing Edgerton and Braun. You were backing Cooper and Smith.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was backing 9th. They were backing 10th.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. So of course Pete's ahead of me, as you'd expect. So
Yeah.
they have both had they both had tough draws for the first 2 matches. Nabil and Braun lost to Adam and Max, and then to Elena and Lauren.
Yep.
But they also lost to either Nico and Crispy or Andrew and Zach.
Which they would have expected to win.
Pretty comfortably as well, I would have thought.
But you can always lose those matches.
Can do. It's early
As
on.
shown by this. Yeah.
Absolutely. And Renee and Matt, similar story, losing to Jamie and Stevie and Adam and Max, tough draws, and losing to the other of the 2 unknown pairs,
Yeah.
Nico and Crispy.
So they've had pretty similar, same
basically
same draws,
Yep.
both at the bottom.
Yep.
But it's really early days. They can definitely
Yep.
bounce back.
Yep.
Not to mention the 3rd, 4th playoff is completely just absolutely
open.
separate to the butler. Anything can happen there.
Yeah.
So the first two pairs qualify, and then third through sixth playoff. Is that how it goes? Or
I
third?
think so. I'm not actually sure how many playoff.
Yeah. Do you remember how many playoff when you were competing in it last year?
They've changed it this year.
They've changed it this year, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
Okay, that's all right.
I can send you that page if you like.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Right.
So anyway,
Yeah.
See ya.
see ya, Ella. So anyway, as we thought, Jamie and Stevie and Adam and Max doing very well,
Yeah.
I think. Those,
They'll be hard pressed to miss out
yeah,
from here.
yeah, absolutely.
They're probably going to finish 1 and 2 would be my guess from that start. There's still a long way to go, but they've both had tough draws and knocked it over. So
Yeah, absolutely. So
Alright.
yeah, so that's and this is youth, right? This is what we're talking about. You know, you've got to grind it out. You are going to lose some matches that you think you should win. Your competitors are going to get insane wins, and you've got to stay on track.
yeah,
You know,
gotta come back.
No one's going to give it to you. You know, you just got to keep grinding it out. And even these guys, Matt and Renee and Nabil and Brawny, I would still think that both of them would get into the playoff, even
Yeah.
from this stage.
Definitely. Like, just the effect of the youth.
Yeah.
Nabil and Braun
Yeah.
win the team's qualifying,
Yeah.
win the team's final, win the pairs final. Now 9th in the butler.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this just shows how tight this actual
Yeah,
field is.
that is.
Tough matches, they can definitely fall behind, but I have faith that both those pairs will drag themselves back up into the playoff.
Yeah.
But that being said, it is really tough to do so when you are losing. Dragging yourself back that is hard work.
Yeah.
I've seen it done before, but you need determination in your skill, and you have to understand that where you are now is like bad stuff's happened, but you can change what you're thinking about, get in the right frame of mind, bounce back. But
Good time to have a break. I think 3 matches. They've got the rest of the day off. Neither of them will go to sleep happy, of course, but you get to restart again tomorrow, right?
yeah,
Sometimes you can just feel it and feel it change with the very first card you play. It's not even the very first card. Sometimes you just wake up and you're like, today's going to be a better day.
yeah,
And you sit down and you play the right card at the right time. You make the right bid at the right time, and you're back on the ship. So.
This reminds me of one of my earlier Youth Week ones, quite a while back, maybe 7 years ago or something. At that stage, it was a double round robin in this Butler stage, but Griff Ware and Nye Griffiths, probably favourites to take it out at that stage, were dead last. Okay, they were playing Polish club or some system that they hadn't played much experience with. Anyway, they were dead last at the halfway. The round robin was over. They finished completely hopelessly. And then they were like, scrap that, we are changing system, dropping this stuff. They went back to standard and qualified first. From dead last at the halfway point to first. They just demolished everyone. They just went through and, they showed, that was the best showing of how you can bounce back from, a bad start I've ever seen. And just alright, what can we do to address the issue? We know we can play better than this. Let's just go in there, do it, and not saying Polish club's a bad system, just it was not working for them.
Yep.
And they went to something they were more comfortable with, and they both understand it fully, and they just went in and played to their best. And when they were comfortable playing well, they just crushed everyone.
Yep. Absolutely. That's what it's all about. You know. And I know we've been focusing a lot on the youth. It's still something that's very dear to our hearts.
Just because we're old.
Just because we're old, exactly. That's right. But also, we should. So this trial is for the junior team to go to Scalzo Maggiore in Italy in July, I think it is, or August, something like that.
Middle of the year sometime.
Yeah, sometime in the middle of the year. It's the World Championships. Every even numbered year, they have the World Teams Championships where every country is able to field one team. Maybe USA gets 2 teams. I don't know.
USA gets 2.
Yeah.
Just because they're so highly populated.
Yeah.
Europe only gets to send 6 teams and Europe as a whole basically has the same population, almost
Yeah.
bridge playing population as America. So America gets 2 teams. So
Yeah.
rather than thinking of this as a country versus country thing, it's more of
Zonal.
like population based.
Yep, absolutely. So these World Championships are amazing. It's you go away, you get used to. I know we've talked about the depth of competition here, but when you go away and you experience that youth championship at the world level for the first time, you can just get wrecked. You can get you play against people who are aggressive. They put pressure on you. They bid to tight games that require accurate defences. They find great lines and great defences. They're not flawless by any means, but they're aggressive and very fiery. And as a youth player, you don't really get used to receiving so much of that. We're both part of partnerships that have been known to dish out some hefty pressure when required.
If you did have to name 2 aggressive partnerships, both of ours would make the list.
I think so, yeah. I think that reflects our philosophy, right? It's better to be the aggressor than to be the one aggressed upon.
Don't make the last guess.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And that's something that needs to be experienced at that level.
Yeah.
You don't get that in this trial, even though it's a fantastic event, and you don't get it in the ANC. Certainly not in the ANC with the limits on state representation and some of the best players not playing and all that. So, however, I think that Australia should be able to field a good team this year, regardless of which of the five pairs get through.
I think it will be a pretty consistent team. I like. In previous years, you've had some pairs where there's been a standout pair and 2 decent pairs. This year, I reckon we've got sort of 3 consistent pairs, probably between the 2. I'd say we don't have the standout pair. Like, I don't think all of them are near that standout pair level, but they're all pretty consistent. And you might say this one's better than that one, but they'll all be pretty touch and go there.
Yeah.
And that's probably a pretty good.
Very good.
Yeah.
It also kind of reflects as well maybe the older group of players this year. You've got Adam Edgerton, Max, Alena, who are all expiring after this. They're going to have to move on from youth competition. Stevie Williams as well. So that's 4 out of those 10 players. And I think I think it's really good. You've got 9 out of the 10 players who've had experience with multiple junior world championships.
Yeah.
It's not often that you get that. I mean, I know the 2 world championships I played at, the first one I played, it was the first and last world championships for New Zealand for 5 of the 6 players, and the second world championships I played, I was the only player to have played a world championship in the team, and the other 5 are all completely new. And I'd like to say that at least 2 of them will get to play another one, hopefully. I've still got 4 years or so.
Yeah.
But that's really hard to overcome that.
Yeah.
That lack of experience and
experience is key. At any at any level you play at, you need to have been there before.
Yeah, absolutely.
You might be a top duplicate player and then go to play at a Victorian level now.
Yeah.
Even if you're an absolute gun duplicate player, you're not going to fare well at the Victorian level, even if you have the skills.
Yep.
You need the experience to be there. And then when you're at the Victorian level, you need to play at an Australian level for a few years. Blood yourself, get your ass beaten. And then,
absolutely.
And it's like you go there, you get beaten a couple of times, and then you're ready to do it. Cause
absolutely.
You always see new things, you see stuff crop up, you get used to this stuff.
Yeah, that's right. That was how it felt playing in Chennai last year for the New Zealand Open team. It was mine and Glenn's first time at that level, and playing a World Championship and
Open Championship.
Yeah, and it was it was actually daunting. Thinking about it, it was. We were on a team with 4 other guys who have experienced it a lot of times, but for us, we kind of, we knew it was going to be tough, and it was very tough. You would drop. You wouldn't win imps. I mean, you told me this story, right, about Ian Thompson. I mean, why don't you share it with these guys?
So I didn't play a World Open Championship, but I played probably the closest equivalent, which is the Ye Brothers Invitational, which is just a sensational field. And I had a top Australian player, Ian Thompson, talk to me. And we were saying, like, when you're playing a match, you have this running score go through your head. That was a good board, that was a bad board, that sort of stuff. And he said, playing in this Ye Brothers, it's a bit different. The general way it works is you have this really, really good board. You just draw a flat line because you won no imps. It was just a flat board. It didn't matter that you did something really good. That happened at the other table too. You do something slightly bad, you write out -10, you just lost a game swing. It is the most hardest event you've ever done. The only way you win imps is if something slightly bad happens at the other table. Yeah. No matter how good a thing you do, that can be equalised. And in no other field do you ever experience that. And you just realise that you cannot slip up at all. It doesn't matter if you find this sensational line. That's not going to get you over the line. Not stuffing up at all is what gets you ahead. And that is incredibly hard.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's... Gosh, I'm getting that sort of familiar rumbling in the stomach, almost getting. I mean, we've obviously got Canberra coming up. We've had
so we'll just jump ahead.
Yeah.
We'll just give a quick rundown. Also, at the moment, we've talked a lot about the youth, but there are a couple of other events running. Not quite as close to our heart. There's the women's and the seniors. We'll get there someday. Maybe not the women's, but currently, Travis' team is winning that, which is only after 2 matches, so early days, but that is Barbara Travis, Candice Ginsberg, Sue Lusk, Margaret Burke. These are perennial favourites of the women's field. They always do well. Yep. They've made the women's team countless number of times. Yep. They would be your hot pick to win this, and they've started off strong. So
absolutely.
I definitely think they'll do well. They might not hold on, but they're going to be up there.
Expect them to follow through.
Yeah. And also in the seniors, which is also running at the moment, the current leaders is Bruce Neal, Richard Chedrikowski, Avi Konetka, Terry Brown, Peter Buchan, and Henry Christie. Also strong names in the seniors field. The seniors is a lot more even. In the women's, that team we mentioned, they're hot favourites. Yeah. In the seniors, it's a lot more tight-knit. But these guys are all good names there, and definitely could hold on. And
a bunch of them also. I think this is primarily the team that was not unlucky, but were knocked out in the round of 8 in the Dorsey Seniors Bowl in Chennai, and they were leading the round robin for almost the entirety of it. They were playing fantastically. So in that sense, it's not unlucky. It's disappointing. No one more disappointed than them themselves.
I think Bruce Neal and Richard weren't on that team.
Yeah, that's right. I think the rest of the guys were. And so they had an awesome qualifying. Again, it's sort of a thing, right? You get to knockouts. Sometimes you just need some more experience in these top matches. And so I'd expect this sort of core of the team to be back and fighting again for Australian representation and hopefully doing it.
Did you just say that the seniors needed more experience?
Well, you were the one who said it, right? About you can be a good duplicate player to go on the state level and all this other stuff. Maybe experience is the wrong word. It's been our catchphrase.
But they should wait a little longer.
I don't think time is a precious commodity. Well. Anyway,
for every other field other than seniors, experience is a precious commodity.
Yes, that's right. But for these guys, what I was suggesting is that possibly playing more knockout matches at this high level would benefit them.
Yeah,
I think. But who wouldn't it benefit? Right? It's a
more is better.
Yeah, more is better. Knockouts are a completely different beast to round robin Swisses and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, next week is the Australian Open teams. It's not a qualifier for the Australian Open team. It's just a open event. Who's your team?
All right. So get ready for some name dropping. So I think it's fair to say when you look at a team and you think, wow, like everyone's really good, that you're probably the worst player. So I wouldn't go that far, but I mean this is a sparkling team. Reese Milner is sponsoring an American team coming over here, which consists of father and son, Hemant Lal and Jay Lal, Justin Lal.
Yeah. Justin Lal, who came second in the World Open Championship back in 2013.
Sounds about right, maybe 20.
And Hermit Lal won the Seniors World Championship.
I think that was with Reese, was it? Maybe at some point. I think they won it together. So that's a good start. It's a very good start. And a couple of bunnies to finish. Jacek Pepsi Cola, one of the top Polish American players in history, one of the best American players. And Ishmael Del Monte, who we've had on the show before.
Yep.
And myself. So it's kind
you
of
look around, see who's the fish. That's
that right here. Yeah. So I'm really excited.
Yeah,
it's going to be good. I get to play with Ishmael. He's you've had a game with him. He's had lots of games with your partner Justin Howard as well. He's something else.
Yeah.
So
you guys would be one of the hot favourites to make it. There are other really, really solid teams. There's other international teams like Team Lavazza, which can't remember off the top of my head, but
I think
Bocky, Medalla, De Boyne,
and
Dennis Bilday, which are just 4 awesome players. So they would probably be favourites. Your team would be hot on their heels. I'm playing on another team that I should be aiming to make the finals, looking at the competition's really tough, but always back myself. But I'm on a team with Gabby Lawrence, Stephen Burgess, myself, Justin Howard, Matthew Thompson, and Peter Newman.
Very good team. It's a team that many years you would expect to certainly be in the final, if not being favourites. So I think that this is one of the features about this year is that the depth is off the charts. There are lots of really good teams.
There is just so many good teams this year.
Yeah.
So if you're in Canberra, feel free to come up and say hi to both of us.
Absolutely.
We'd love to have a chat.
Yeah.
Hopefully you're rooting for me, not him, because
unless you're a Kiwi, you definitely Kiwi, American, Polish. I'll take all of these demographics.
I still have the numbers in my phone.
yeah, that's true. You do. I've even got my Polish solidarity T-shirt on at the moment as well.
But if you're up in Canberra, it should be an awesome event. We'll have another triple dummy at some stage when we can get the gang back together after that with all the reports from that. And we'll fill you in with all the youth details of who actually made the team rather than our speculation. Yep. The grudge match of when we actually play ourselves in the knot and I crush Nick's hopes and dreams. And we'll get back to you then. Hope you've all enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.
Thanks for tuning in. See you later.
All right, see ya.